All right. About another 8 or 10 amendments, and we'll have this thing licked. So we have a motion on the floor, and the current motion is 25% across the board reductions from what's here. Yes.
I'd like to make amendment.
Okay.
To the motion.
Let's see if this one flies, and then we'll have some discussion, I'm sure.
I think they say there's a 20% error, plus or minus in there, so we're not doing anything at 25. So I'm going to make a motion that reduce the quota statewide on, you need the hunt numbers, on hunt numbers 1331, 1371, and 1341 at 40%. And, you know, the graphs show, and I think you've seen that, when the tags go up, the buck harvest goes down. Right there. And so, you know, that's exactly what happens. Like Commissioner Vogler says, you know, there's more bucks out there. But this is a graph that I had made, and that's what's happening. And it happened in 2005 when we had more tags issued. The buck harvest went down. So my motion amendment would be 40% because they got a 20% sampling error.
Okay. Motion waiting.
That's my amendment.
Amendment fails for lack of second.
Vice Chairman Lynn?
Yes.
Well, that's right. That's last.
And now, does that also include Area 4? Because Area 4 is the only one that's really showing any kind of increase. All the other areas, with the exception of showing minor.
We're just having a clarification on the motion, so yeah.
Yeah. So is that going to include Area 4? Because Area 4 is the only one.
He's trying to understand I think he's trying to understand what the motion was. Well, did you understand the motion? It hasn't been seconded yet, so we can't really discuss it.
If it gets seconded, then we can discuss it.
Okay, dies for lack of a second. We have a new amendment. New amendment.
Motion to amend the amendment.
The motion as it currently stands.
As it currently stands. Vice Chairman Lint mentioned, I'd have to go back and find the
areas 4, 5.
These green areas that he mentioned earlier.
15, 18, and 23.
I would propose a 10% decrease in those and a 25% in the rest.
I didn't hear that.
Okay. If this amendment passes, areas 4, 5, 15, 18, and 23 would be a 10% decrease, and the rest would stand at 25.
So just for
we just, if you want to clarify the motion, because it hasn't been seconded yet.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to do that.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify. I have some additional discussion as well, but I wanted to clarify that in effect what Commissioner Wallace is doing is merely for those specific areas, changing it from 25 to 10, and not changing the other areas. And so, really, the amendment is only as to those areas in the green.
Correct.
But can we clarify that those areas are?
Commissioner Capurro, microphone, please.
Can we clarify that those areas are 4, 5, 15, 18, and 23?
Yeah. And of course, those, as previously stipulated, did include all the subunits, but everything that starts with 04, 05, in this case 15, 18, and 23. Those are the first two digits and all the subunits underneath those areas. Okay, that is the current motion to amend the main motion. We are at discussion, and Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think that motion carries much water, because when you've got a 20% sampling rate, it doesn't have any meaning on it. You're not really doing anything. You're just treading water. You're not increasing it, but you're just treading water. You're not going to do anything to save any deer. And you know, and again, I'll say it again, when the tags go up, the buck harvest goes down.
Well, and that's been fairly quite evident in everything I've been looking at. Okay, Commissioner Macbeth.
Okay, I'm going to say it again. With respect to the current motion, the prior motions that have started from Commissioner Vogler's motion forward, the initial motion forward, none of these motions have been based in fact. There's no rational basis for what is going on here. This is just bartering. And I think this, whatever decision comes out of this to this point, or any additional amendments that are based solely on this bartering process, have no basis in fact, are arbitrary and capricious, and could be overturned in court.
Thank you. Personally, I would think that there's been a lot of facts thrown out here and a lot of good reasoning, and you know, on all sides of this issue. So, and I would say this board is a lot of things, but arbitrary and capricious are not amongst those items. They might be a lot of things, and I might say a lot of things to a lot of people, but those don't happen to be amongst them. There's a lot of hard thinking that's gone into everything, and that's up to and including those opinions that I do disagree with wholeheartedly at times. I can't say that I've ever seen anybody, anyone on this commission, act arbitrarily or capriciously at any point in time. Okay.
Take a look at this data on the screen then.
Thank you for, please, thank you.
What is that?
Can't see that.
Now, we have a motion and to amend on the floor. Everybody understand that motion? All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we have 3 opposed. Motion to amend passes. We have Howell, Mr. Schrum, Commissioner Schrum, Commissioner Howell, and Commissioner Lent opposed. We now have a new motion on the floor. And that motion is the 25% in most areas, 10% in the number 4 areas 4, 5, 15, 18, and 23. Commissioner Capurro.
I hate to complicate things, but I'd like to try another amendment to the amendment.
To the amended motion.
To the amended motion, that is to retain the 10% decrease in the 4 listed areas, 4, 5 listed, 4, 5, 15, 18, and 23, and reduce the rest of the areas by 20%.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to do what Mr. Capurro said. Does everybody understand that? Motion to amend. All in favor of that motion to amend signify by raising your hand. All opposed? And motion, I guess, fails. Also, we'll back. The opposed will stick. We'll stick with the in favor would be Commissioner Capurro, Cavan, Wallace, Macbeth. Everybody else opposed. So now we're back at the main motion as it currently reads, which is 10% in this aforementioned many times 5 units groups, 5 areas, excuse me, and 25% in the rest. Commissioner Macbeth, further discussion.
Yes. At this point, what I'd like to now understand is from the department, what is going to be the fiscal impact of the if the motion as it currently stands with a 25% reduction in the units in red and a 10% reduction in the units in green based off the map. Actually, the stuff in red and white are 25%. What is going to be the fiscal impact? And I'm talking about direct tag sales and then matching funds, matching federal funds. What is going to be the fiscal impact of this decision?
If there happens to be someone that could, staff that could ask that, but that's kind of...
auction the deer and get more money.
We have more discussion here, and Commissioner Vogler.
Just
I hate to say I'm confused, but that's just what's going on. Now, didn't we put out 45 or 65 tags for the bears, and we only want to shoot 20 bears? So aren't we being a little disingenuous to several people that get to go bear hunting but can't get a bear? So if we lower the number of tags, we're going to increase the number of bucks, because the people that do get a tag are going to have a better chance of getting a buck. And they might even not shoot the first buck they see and let some forked horns grow up, because right now you shoot the first buck you see because you're pretty well convinced, unless you have a month to spend out there, you're not going to get to see another buck.
Let's keep the crosstalk down, please. Hey,
Take the same number of
keep
elk
crosstalk
or deer
down,
out.
please.
I don't understand that, but we've already tricked the guys that there's 1,100 people I heard yesterday had put in for the bear tag. We're going to issue 45 tags, and only 20 bears can be taken. So we knew that. What did we do there?
Well, and you know, personally, I dislike the line of discussion where it's going there. I mean, we're here to protect a resource.
Yes.
We're not here to check and sell tags and how much money and what's the physical impact of this and that. If that's what we've been reduced to, then we've got some problems that we haven't even begun to touch on here today. That's worst thing I've heard yet, in my humble opinion. Okay, I will now cease spouting off, but Commissioner Macbeth.
Mr. Gates, I asked a question, you weren't here, and so now that you're here, I'll ask it again.
Hold on just a second. Can you please, back there, keep this down? We're trying to hear what's going on up here. It's especially hard on the recording equipment.
The current proposal for reduction in mule deer tags are 25% for the areas in red, which on this map, and 10% for the areas in green. Can you give us any estimates at all what the fiscal impact of this is going to be with respect to tag sales, as well as what the matching federal funds lost will be? I mean, regardless of whether we think that this is relevant to the resource, we should know what this is going to do.
For the record, Patrick Cates. Obviously, I just walked in the room, but based on a brief conversation I had with Don Sefton, it sounds like this reduction would cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of $150,000 in tag fees. When you consider the match for these funds, generally there's a match with PR dollars, 75, 25, so you're somewhere in the neighborhood of $600,000 off the top of my head, fiscal impact.
Mr. Green?
Go ahead, Commissioner Vogler.
I asked Mr. Cates a question. Is it the policy of the commission to protect the resource or generate revenue?
I wouldn't call it comment on the policy of the
All
commission.
right, I don't think he's, okay. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Mr. Vice Chairman.
I got a question. If we got these guys saying that this isn't science, and yet you're basing, if this is actually science, but we've got guys saying it's not science, so if we're basing the motion and there, is this science or not? This is exactly from their hunt books, and if these areas are doing better, if you look at this, they're not doing that much better. There's a little tweak here, and there's one area that's doing better, area 4, but if you look at 5, it's these areas could be stable. They're really, if you're going to call this science, which I think it is, and we're going to go by that, let's go by it, and let's look at the rest of the state, because the rest of the state has some huge decreases in population estimates. Area 6, for example, they're going down. And we got a lot of areas going down in here, and if you're going to base on here, then, you know, tweaking a few percent is not going to get it.
Mr. Chairman.
All right. Yes. What you have, Mr. Wasley?
With respect to this graphic, I guess I looked at this year's population estimates, comparing them to last year. In the current year, we have 19 areas that we hunt in that have reflected no change. 8 areas reflect a decrease and 14 areas reflect an increase. So there's obviously a time interval over which this red and green is being applied. And I think it's an inconsistent time interval because as we look at these graphs, some of them go to 1983, some of them go to 1991. So there's an inconsistent interval, and that's not a scientific application of these ideas or these concepts. That's part of my statement that it's not scientific.
All right. Thank you. I think there's one thing, if I have learned being on this commission for a few years, is there's a lot of different viewpoints out in the world of whose science is better than whose science and what science. So anyways, we've got one thing I do want to say though is, we've got to watch this. If the only reason we're trying to increase tags is because of a financial deal, that's a dead-end trail because over the long term, it's a short-term gain for a long-term loss.
Loss of hunters.
All right, please keep the crosstalk in the audience down. We're accurate. The commissions. We have a motion and a second on the floor.
Repeat the motion.
The motion is for as it's been amended for. This is many amendments into it. Let me try to count them all. It currently states that the unit groups contained in the following areas: 4, 5, 15, 18, and 23 be decreased by 10% over the 2011 proposed quotas, and the remaining units decreased by 25%, and that would be for all the remaining mule deer hunts. It would be 1331, 1371, 1341, 1330, and yes, and those include the non-residents as well, proportionally across them. Everybody understand that motion? And we should see if no. Okay, all of the remaining unit hunts, we have 5 areas, which are 4, 5, 10, 18, and 23. And those would be a 10% decrease over the 2011 quotas. 10. Whoa, did I say 10? 4, 5, 15, 18, and 23. 4, 5, 15, 18, 23. The same ones we've talked about all along. They would be a 10% decrease over 2011 proposed quotas. All the remaining ones would be a 25% decrease.
And that's the amendment to the original?
That is the current main motion. We're actually down to a main motion we could actually vote on.
That's too long.
And hopefully we found some common ground somewhere here.
Can you please state who made that amendment?
Well, it was amended, and that passed Commissioner Wallace.
So that's Wallace's amendment?
Yes. That's as it is amended. It was amended and passed by 5-4 vote. It did pass. It did pass. It did pass 5-4 vote. And then there was another amendment that happened, and that failed. So
this is our final motion?
Yes.
At unless it fails, in which case we're back again. Depends on how many times you want it to go back. All right. Everybody understand the main motion? This is actually a main motion, which is unusual for this commission.
Mr.
All right.
Chairman?
Yes, clerk. No more amendments.
No, not an amendment.
Let's vote on it once for all.
The 10% in those areas.
Yes.
That is what we're voting on.
We're the whole shebang.
And 25 for the rest.
And 25 for the rest. That is the new main motion. This would be the end of our quota setting for the. If this passes, we're done with mule deer. If it doesn't pass, we're back where we started a couple hours ago. All in favor of the motion signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Oh, man. Again.
What's the name?
All right. The motion passes. We have Commissioner Schrum, Commissioner Cavan, Commissioner Lent, Commissioner Macbeth, and Commissioner Rain voting in favor of the motion.
No, that was opposed to it.
We were opposed.
Cancel. Please cancel the last portion. Okay. Okay. All in favor? Commissioner Howell, Commissioner Vogler, Commissioner Capurro, Commissioner Wallace,
What's the vote for?
Oh my
We just
goodness.
lost it, didn't we?
We're trying to clarify. We're trying to clarify. We lost count. Okay. All in favor of that main motion, and that was Commissioner Howell, Commissioner Vogler, Commissioner Capurro, and Commissioner Wallace.
Can I?
And I'm trying to count votes here. Did we miss your vote?
No. Can we have a recess?
No. We're here. And myself. And we have Commissioner Cavan, Commissioner Macbeth, Commissioner Lent, and Commissioner Howell opposed. Commissioner Howell Shrum opposed. Motion passes. Done with mule deer. We're now at...
Time to go, guys. Write a letter to the governor and tell him how much you're ready.
We now at the following items, which is, let's move on. Let's see, and this, the compensation tags come out of this. That's an automatic deal. We don't need to make a motion on that, do we? The compensation tags, because they're an automatic percentage. Do we need to vote on that percentage? Okay. So they come along. Nobody said this would not be interesting. We are now on 34? 35. That was 34. This is 35. Mule deer policy. Final reading. All right. We'd had no changes over the last time, so we've got a... What did we have from last time? Kim, welcome back. I voted for something somewhere.
Oh, I couldn't hand them out. Whoops.
Now for something that's completely non-controversial. Mule deer policy.